Thank you for listening to this PodcastOne production. Now available on Apple Podcasts, PodcastOne, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.
PodcastOne presents the Steve Austin Show Classics.
All right, I'm sitting here with Ryback. We're back here in the dressing room in the middle of the Staples Center. It's a pay-per-view. It's Hell in the Cell. Hell, this man's got a match. Ryback, how you doing? You've been busy as hell ever since I saw you. It's good to see you.
You stopped me in the hall and said, I'm on the podcast today. And I said, what? And not being sarcastic or anything, and they WWE failed to inform me that I was going to be doing the Stone Cold podcast today.
Well, I know, but see, here's the thing. I was just going back a while back, as I told you, last week. I was over there talking to Brock Lesnar, and I happened upon you in the hallway, and we just started talking. I said, hey, man, I got a chance to catch you on Rosenberg Radio when you did that interview with Peter Rosenberg. And I said, I don't mean any disrespect, but I just kind of just thought you was just a musclehead or a meathead, because we texted each other.
If you just go by the look, I look like your typical cookie-cutter meathead, not intelligent, just grunting all the time.
But I heard you talking, man. I said, man, I got to talk to this cat. And so we spent about 20 minutes in the back, and I said, hey, man, if there's a chance to get you on a podcast. And we exchanged numbers, and all of a sudden, when I got the word that I could come down here and talk to a few guys, well, I said, I want to talk to Ryback, and I want to talk to Arn Anderson. All of a sudden, I come back here, man, Ryback. You want me to call you Ryan or Ryback?
Ryback is more than fine.
Okay, you all kind of gimmick names, guy.
Big guy.
So all of a sudden, man, I was like, dude, I said, you and me, right? And you go like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I thought, man, nobody told you we was going to do the podcast. So anyway, we got here. Today's a pay-per-view. You have a match tonight.
I do, with Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens. And then I just, right before we came into this room, you started having another meeting with, what was it, Creative and his
Mark Carano,
merchandise
stuff. Yeah.
So let's break in right there, man. It's a busy day. All of a sudden, it's hustle and bustle. Were you guys on the road? Did you come from your hometown of Vegas?
I drove in from Vegas. I drove my truck in today. Did a big workout last night, and then I got up at 6 a.m., got ready, had some breakfast, and did the 4.5-hour drive down here.
What kind of vehicle does Ryback drive?
Dodge Ram 1500.
1500, so you got the V8.
It does have the V8.
Okay, why Dodge guy?
To me, we drive a lot of rental cars on the road, and I just like Dodges. We literally get to try everything. And Dodges are to me, are the smoothest ride, and the truck drives just like one of their Challengers or Chargers. So
you came into Los Angeles last night?
No, this morning.
But then did you crush the workout? What'd you do?
I did shoulders and arms and some conditioning stuff last night, and then was interrupted by my neighbors, actually, who came over to thank me for they have a young kid, a 9-year-old, Brogan. I left him a big WWE gift basket out for his birthday last week. So they came over to thank me, but it took about 45 minutes out of my workout.
You know, one of the things that interests me so much about you and your physique that you've created, you've always been a big guy.
Yeah.
You've always worked out. And going back to your days in high school, you grew up in Vegas.
Yeah, born and raised.
And so, but you excelled in football and baseball. What position in baseball? What position in football?
So I played everything in baseball. I varsity all 4 years in high school. Football, I was the only freshman they brought up to the varsity team for the state championships to be on the tackle squad, the dummy squad, and get killed by the bigger guys. But they thought enough of me that I could handle it back then, which was quite an honor at that age. And then football, middle linebacker, I was running back. I was the kicker for 3 years. I did it literally in high school. Back then we did everything.
Man, dude, I grew up in a 2 and 3A school system. I don't know how y'all have it there. I graduated, for instance, the size of high school I graduated with 110 people. Yeah. How many kids did you graduate with?
I don't know how many was in the class. It was a large school. But
so you're in a big school.
Yeah, Vegas,
and you're playing all these positions. Then. That's crazy.
Yeah, literally started third base my freshman year in baseball. Played shortstop. My senior year, I moved to first base because that's when I was about 240 then. So the size started coming on. But the only thing I didn't really do was play catcher.
Okay, going to the football, you get timed in a 40-yard dash. I was always about a 4'9" guy. Now, I wasn't your size in high school, but my line was about 160 pounds. Yep. I ran north and south. I wasn't fast enough to run east or west, and so I ran a 4'9". What kind of 40 guy were you?
4'7", 4'8".
That's a pretty damn quick 40.
Yeah, and I was a bigger kid back then, but I wish I would have known the things I know now back then. That was just kind of all natural ability, and you just go out and play and have fun. And I wish I had the work ethic I have now that I've developed as I've gotten older.
Well, talk to me about the work ethic, because, dude, I mean, but you were always a big guy, especially if you're telling me in high school you were already 240.
Yep.
with respect to the training program, what the coaches have you guys doing back then? Because, I mean, our foundation was real slim at Edna, Texas. It was a universal machine, and we were just doing circuit training.
We had a full weight room in my high school. It's actually in an older neighborhood, but I switched schools my senior year for baseball. But essentially, they have everybody doing the same thing, weight room-wise and everything, whereas for me, I've excelled as I've gotten older by doing my own thing and pushing myself past what people would consider a normal amount or a lot. Like I believe the human body and the mind can adapt to anything, and to excel in any profession, the key to rising above everybody else is the work ethic.
Okay, and one of the things I want to talk to you about that really interested me was your take on training and your diet, because I consider and do a chronology of your career in wrestling. Let's talk a little bit about wrestling in a minute, but talk about taking care of yourself, because when I take myself back to my days, dude, I kind of always trained like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
When I was playing college football, I more powerlifting type power stuff that's going to help me in football. But for professional wrestling, I never had the bodybuilder look, but that's the way I trained. And then on top of the schedule that you know all about, man, I was a guy who I drank a lot. I ran with that drinking crowd.
We were talking, you have your phases up here.
I want to get through your phases, but here's the thing I'm getting to. I really asked my body to do a lot, from the in-ring activity, the out-ring activity, the in-the-gym activity, the whole ball of wax. You're burning the candle at three ends, really, not just two. But so in hearing some of your things and talking with Peter Rosenberg about your training, how you take care of yourself, explain to me what your training phases are. Because, dude, you're built like a brick house. What are you doing with taking in calories and the workouts you put in your body through? How are you maintaining this life on the road? Because it's tough.
Yeah, so I have evolved in my theories on training as I've been here in the WWE. I got signed at 22 years old, almost 23, and I was very bodybuilder-oriented back then. Even though I did a lot of powerlifting stuff too, I would just go in the weight room and throw things around. And whereas now, I stretch for 30 to 45 minutes a day. I do a little bit of everything weight room. I still like being strong, but I will adapt my weight training to, I will do 2 to 3 reps for 3 weeks. I'll do 5 to 7, for another 3 weeks. I'll do 10 to 12, but I'll go 15, 20. I literally will cycle it, but I'll go by, if 2 to 3, I'm not feeling good, my joints are aching, I go 10 to 12 because I know I got to give my body a little more time. And I built my house to literally, I've told Vince this, I am here for the long haul. Like I want to be my absolute best, and I feel like my best is going to end up pretty damn good at the end of this. But the key to that is staying healthy and longevity here. We go day to day, but I got the cold tub, the hot tub. I built everything in my house, all my training, the gym, everything, to keep me healthy, to get myself ready to go back on the road. Because that's the name of the game around here. Because people are going to take themselves out, people get injured, and opportunities open up. And I've said from day one, I am more than, I've told Vince this to his face, I am the guy that can replace John Cena. And I'm not John Cena, I'm Ryback. But I'm the guy that can do that, and I can sell, but I need to be healthy. And I need to be here every day for that to happen. And
to add to that point, you've got to have that mentality in this business. It doesn't matter whether you're in this business or if you're a professional athlete. You've got to believe that hey, if this guy goes down, you've got to be able to take that spot, and you have the confidence to do that as part of the mindset. Going back to your workouts, what are you doing, man? Because it sounds to me like you do a lot of volume.
I do. I literally I was doing everything twice a week, body part wise, and Matt down at NXT Winchinsky, I believe, has a really weird last name. Sorry, Matt. He was doing my workouts for me. But I found that I switched back to me. I have a pretty good idea of the body. I was in school at UNLV for, kinesiological sciences and fitness management, and I love all that stuff.
What are we going to do with that?
Like personal training, things like that. But I love reading about the human body and just different things, different training techniques. I'm really big into the motivational stuff. So taking that, and I went to once a week, essentially, with everything, because I do such a high volume of the training and the stretching and the conditioning. I do conditioning every day for 30 to 45 minutes of not just getting on the elliptical machine and doing your Joe Blow cardio. I told you I did 150 burpees that day after we did it. I did
13 some odd minutes. Yeah, I damn near crapped my pants. I said, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
One of the girls from my Broken Skull Challenge was telling me about the things she was doing. She was doing 100 burpees a day for a month. It was just a gimmick she was doing. So I said, okay, man, I'll give it a shot. Well, dude, I ain't dropped down and done a burpee for basically my whole life.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm in my garage right there by my washer and dryer, and I hit about 6. And dude, when you hit 6, you'll blow up.
There's
and
that point when you hit, like sometimes.
How long did it take you to adapt?
It's so when I first started doing them, I would hit that 10 or 12, you'd start feeling it right away. And then now, the other day, I did 50 straight before I even took a break. And that 50, I mean, you feel it.
Damn right.
But it's in my mind, so I have a theory. I was actually talking to Adrian Neville about this. For me, the intensity that I'm going from beginning to end out there, I feel like for me to completely be at my all-time best, I need to be able to do 200 burpees a day like that to be able to go out there and to be the kind of wrestler that I want to be.
Dude, but can the human body, I mean, or your body, I mean, not the human body, but I mean, I'm just talking about with the schedule, I'm telling you, people don't understand the grind that it is being on the road. Can you do 200 burpees a day and then do your training and then go out there in a damn square circle?
That would be after the training, but the key in again, talking with Vince about training, we talked about this, I've learned that the key is getting a good warm-up and not just jumping into it. So if I do my stretching and everything 30, 45 minutes, and then I do my workout, I'm warmed up by the time and I remember being younger and looking at the older men in the gym wearing the elbow pads and rubbing the Ben Gay on their elbow. Oh God, these guys. And if I you get beat up out there and doing this 5 days a week and the traveling and all that and the weight training and everything else that's asked of us, I put the elbow pads on sometimes to train on the knee pads, and it's the body adapts if you push it to that level.
What about the mind? I mean,
the mind's what controls all. I'm big on the mind controls everything. That is the way that I look is solely because of my mind.
So when you go home, do you ever have to leave your house to go train, or you've got everything?
I built everything at my house, and it was one of those things. I always enjoyed the process of going to the gym, but now I love being at home because I love working out alone. I was again telling Vince this. On my wall, I put all the WWE, who in my mind are the legends, which you're up there, all the champions, because Rock, Undertaker, I got Triple H, Shawn, Brock's up there, because you guys have all reached a level that I want to get to. So when I'm in there training alone, if I am tired or I want to stop, I look around. I'm not going to ever get to this or past this if I cut myself short on this end. So I'm very big on the visualization of things.
Are you a music guy when you train? A lot of
Absolutely.
people just like to hear the iron clanging and just banging and silence. So if you're cranking in there, what are you cranking? What are you listening to?
I'm a man of many emotions, Steve. It's I will literally stretch. When I stretch, I will put up my meditation on. I do this program called Holosync. What's it called? Holosync. Yeah. It's by a guy named Bill Harris, who's one of the authors of The Secret, that book that I've talked about. And, and it literally, you put your own affirmations on, and you can't hear them. It's an hour long, though. I've been doing that for 4 years, and that thing has done me more good for just quieting my mind and controlling my thoughts. So I'll do that while I stretch, and then I'll throw AC/DC on and Metallica, Limp Bizkit, doesn't matter. I'm on, then it's...
You just brought up The Secret. Someone gave me the book of The Secret, or was it a DVD? What is it?
There's both. There's a book and a DVD.
Okay.
I have all of it, Steve.
Okay, so I got ADD. Give me the 411 in a hurry. What is The Secret?
It's essentially the law of attraction, which that our thoughts are energy and it producing positive thoughts. Essentially, it's keeping a positive outlook on life, and that our thoughts produce energy, and what you put out there, you attract back to you, which I'm a big believer in. Now, there's always more to the book. There's a whole thing called work ethic also. If I just you can I'm going to have $5 million, but if you don't truly believe that and have the work ethic to match that thought, you're going to be sitting in your chair broke.
Talk to me about the positive mindset, because I've been here, and sometimes you get into some real head scratching situations where
place, yeah.
And you've been here 10 years.
Yeah,
you've had a hell of a run. That's staying power.
Yeah.
And what are you, 33?
33 now, yeah.
So, I mean, dude, you're still a young cat.
Which, by the way, I did hear one of your podcasts where Wade Keller said he thought the boat had passed on me on being a main event, and you actually stuck up for me, which I appreciate. Which he is clueless if that's what he thinks, and he truly has no idea what this business is about, because I haven't even gotten started yet, and I have another 15 years in me, and I truly am. I believe I'm the guy that is going to be number one. So, Wade, you're wrong.
Okay, so let's talk. Okay, 15. Well, you're going to outlast everybody. That finally they're going to have to run with you. Hey, let's talk a little bit. Let's shift into a little bit of wrestling then, and talking about the Ryback character.
Yeah.
Because you and me were texting each other way back in the day when they brought you in to Skip Sheffield.
Yeah.
And I don't think we'd really ever met. I just
No.
got your phone number, and I was big on you. I thought,
I have a funny story about it, actually.
What happened?
They brought me in after I broke my ankle and leg, and after the Nexus deal, and it was in Atlanta, and they flew me up there because I had to have another surgery still on my leg. I already had 2, and the 3 doctors told me I'd never wrestle again. And last thing I wanted to do was show up at the arena. I hadn't seen anybody in a year, and then have to tell everyone, ask you the same questions, and where have you been, how you doing? Oh, I still need another surgery. I'm still hurt a year later because of all this stuff going wrong. And I was really embarrassed to be there. And Rock was back. You were back for that one. And I remember I was in catering, and I was just keeping to myself. And I didn't even want to say hi. I didn't want to run into you. I didn't want to see anybody, but I had to be there because I had to meet with the doctors. And I'm eating, and I look up, and you happen to be sitting all the way at a table, probably 30 yards down, and we made eye contact. And I go, shit. And you just stared at me and gave me like a death look. And I go, oh, he's probably mad I didn't say hi to him. But that moment always sticks out in my head, that from WrestleMania back in Atlanta, because I wanted nothing to do with that entire thing. But that was the reasoning why I didn't come up and say hello, if that was ever the process.
No, dude, sometimes I get that 1,000-yard stare, when you're looking at somebody, it's like
Another bald guy.
Yeah. Dude, it's just, man, it is what it is. Talk about Ryback creation. Was this your idea? Because on paper or on television, when you look at it, I know you've already talked about the RVD thing with the trunks, the tights, the singlet, whatever you call it. Some people think shades of Goldberg. Some people think shades of Ultimate Warrior. At the end of the day, what is your thought process? Who and what is Ryback?
Yeah, so the Ryback character was created while I was released from WWE. I was sitting there watching Terminator 2, and I was drinking. This was in my phase where I was released from WWE. I was drinking heavily, and which I'm not ashamed to say because it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me that period. And
why? Because you got a chance to be retrospective or
I remember I was working at Smoky Bones, and I stayed in Louisville. I was so ashamed, Steve, to move back to Vegas. I didn't talk to my parents for almost a year because I was released, and it might have been one phone call, and I didn't go home for Christmas that year for Thanksgiving.
Was it because you didn't want them to think you were a failure?
Yeah. I was so ashamed that I had had the ball in my hands. I had had this huge opportunity, and WWE had these high expectations for me, in which they told me at the time, and I got released unexpectedly for about 2 years there. And I knew in my mind I had to stay in Louisville. I had to go through whatever I was going to go through, and mentally I was in a very negative mindset, which is a whole other – that's eventually The Secret was introduced to me, and that's what changed all that. But I had read The Secret leading into this, and my mindset started to change. I was like, I used to be like this. What happened to me? I'd gotten very negative my first 2 years in wrestling, which won't say why necessarily, but just through some training and how this business is, it took away my confidence, not only in wrestling, but just in life in general. And I'm watching Terminator 2 one night, and I'm a big Arnold fan. And
who ain't? Just
huge inspiration, just huge success, great work ethic. And I'm watching, and I'm sitting there, and I go, what happened to me? I used to be like a Terminator. I used to set goals, and I used to achieve them. I wanted to be a WWE superstar, and I did it. And then I'm sitting there, I go, look at me. And I was so just ashamed of myself that working 12 hours a day in a barbecue restaurant, still working out, but no direction, just waking up, letting life control my circumstances. And I just said, no, I'm Ryback. It literally came to me because I was Silverback before, and my real name is Ryan.
Right.
And it was just like that epiphany, the moment clicked. And I literally just started doing promos right then and there, drunk by myself in my apartment that night. And my good friend Pat Buck was living with me at the time, and he came home, and I was telling him about it, and I started doing vision boards, writing all my goals down again. And
really?
Steve, literally, within 6 months, my friend, I came home, and Pat was in there, and I got re-signed by WWE. I went back to OVW, and I had probably 15 goals on this board. And he had tears on his. He goes, "You literally have done every single one of these," and I didn't even realize it at the time. And I was like, "Whoa, this is." When I set my mind to stuff, it's pretty powerful. So that was the beginning of it.
Okay, and the Ryback, your first name is Ryan, but back in the day, because of just your build, your physical nature, you got the nickname Silverback.
Yeah.
Because they just thought you resembled a big
I've
gorilla.
always had like the big forehead, they kind of have the Cro-Magnon look there and just look like a caveman kind of, but my friends always called me Silverback, so that kind of just stuck with me and is a good wrestler.
And so, boom, you come up with Ryback briefly, or as in a detail or not detail as you want to go into this. What happened when WWE let you go?
Initially, the first time, it was one of those things. I was down at OVW. Cody Rhodes was there. And this is we had practice. It was a Friday afternoon, and I was having nightmares of getting released. I was so negative, it was consuming me. Even though you could have probably interviewed every person in that class, who is Ryback going to get released today? No way. No one saw it coming, and it was just something I felt inside. It was having bad dreams about it. And then Al Snow called me later that night, and I'm sorry, Mike Bucci first. I apologize, Mike Bucci, and I'd missed the call, and I saw it, and I go, this is it. Called him back, and then he told me I was released. It was me.
Why did they release you?
They were still to this day. It's one of those things. I think
they'd given up on you.
For the time being, I think this is very political, and I don't. At the time, you're going by trainer reports and whatnot. And,
right.
You could be told you're doing great on one end, but they're getting something else on the other end. For me, it was the best thing that ever happened. So I don't regret it happening. Okay, but you get let go.
What kind of time passed before they called you back and said, hey, let's do it again?
I took 1 year. I did some indie shots down in Tennessee, and at the time I had a Nissan Titan. I was in gas at that point was like really high, and money was tight, and I was losing money every shot, and I go, this isn't going to be a realistic thing. I got to get a regular job, and I could have moved back to Vegas and made great money and done anything. You go work in a club there, and make six figures, and it's that's when I just kind of was like, I got to ride this out. I'm going to stay here. I went to many different restaurants, so I eat a lot of food, Steve. So in my mind, I wanted to work on my promo skills too. So in my mind, being a server was the best of both worlds. I could feed myself by working in a restaurant and getting some free food for the amount that I need to eat to keep my size on, and I could talk to people because I'm going to be really uncomfortable serving tables looking the way that I look. And it truly was the best thing for me. It allowed me to open up, and it also, though, made me, I once I had it, when people were like, what are you doing here? Why aren't you like it? Where I'm like, yeah, what am I doing here? And it kind of lit that fire under me, too, in the process.
Here's the thing. But in working with people, did you learn anything about people by taking their orders?
Oh, absolutely. There's many different types of people, but and you have to learn to, if another table stiffs you on a tip, you have to learn to not carry that service over to the next table, and having that good attitude throughout a 10-hour shift. And it's definitely helped me here because this can be a very negative environment and things don't always go our way. And you have to be able to kind of, turn negatives into positives.
What about on the occasion, you're doing your best to do a good job, make it a pleasant dining experience for the people there in the restaurant, and all of a sudden someone comes in there with that arrogant prick tone that everybody, I've eaten by them, I've listened to them order, I've watched the way they treat people. What was your reaction? You had to have a couple of people that did that to you. With respect to your size.
I never, all seriousness, I lucked out on that. I didn't get no guy ever what I thought acted out of line.
Right.
Now I did have people, oh, can I get this? Can I get that? They start running you, and I'm doing 6 tables, and God damn it, it's just tell me all at once. I can get it all for you. So on that end, but I still talk to the manager. That was the manager at the time, and he still tells me to this day I was the best employee he ever had.
Dude, you grew up watching the business of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And so you're probably like me, man, at 7 or 8, man. I was a fan. I was hooked. To me, you're a lot younger than I am. The exposés had already been out, but I would probably venture to say you thought it was real when you first saw it.
Oh, absolutely. I remember sitting in front of the TV when I was a kid, and my first memories to this day still is seeing Andre and Hogan live in Vegas, and I don't remember anything from the event except for my parents got me one of those big long bull horns, plastic ones, and I was screaming at it all night, and I remember the black singlet with Andre and the yellow trunks with Hogan, and that was my first wrestling memory. And then around 9, 10, 11, 12 is when I was all about it.
Well, what was this occurrence that happened when you got to ring a bell at a WWF event?
So I was 12 going on 13 or 13, right around that age, and WWE Live was coming into town, the World Tour de Force, and as it was called at the time.
At the Thomas & Mack Center?
Thomas & Mack
And that
Center.
was always a tough building to work because Vegas is an interesting place because you get a lot of people that just come here to gamble, and so they're like the locals, because a lot of people don't understand that Vegas is also a regular town, much like Los Angeles, a little bit smaller, but sometimes Thomas & Mack Center can be a tough crowd.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Go ahead.
We've actually, it has improved over the years, but 4 years ago, it was still like that. We've been running there much more often now.
Yeah, sometimes, man, you go and you're like, man, what's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
Man, shit was working yesterday.
Yep. We had we were there. I remember a year ago. We had like a $300,000 gate, which for there is tremendous.
Yeah.
Which people are coming out there more now, but still, it's a different crowd sometimes.
So how'd you ring this bell?
So I sent in a letter, which my mom still has.
To who?
To the News 13 radio news station, and on why I should be the one to win the 4 front row seats and win the whole prize package and whatnot. So I sent in a heartfelt letter. They said they told my mom when they talked to her, we felt his passion was their exact words, which is why they chose me. And but that wasn't enough for me, as you know. I always want more, Steve. I called in. I did all the radio stations, and I won 20-something tickets. And I took the entire neighborhood, gave them all out, and then I brought my best friends all sat front row with me, and then we'd change out for a match, bring another friend up, and it's to this day, I still talk to a couple of the guys.
So you go through college. Did you end up getting a degree?
I didn't. I had about a year and a half left to get my degree when WWE Tough Enough came along, and I dropped my classes. I was so confident I was going to get picked. I dropped my classes before they even chose me, and I went out and I adopted another dog to give my dad 2 dogs, so my other one wasn't lonely, because I was so I knew I was going. I was just like in my head again where I knew, and luckily I don't recommend that to the kids out there, but it worked out for me.
How was your Tough Enough experience? It's changed through the different incarnations, and it's from start to finish. But how was your experience?
It was a great introduction into the crazy world of the WWE. But
just a peak at that time.
Yeah,
because they kept it pretty much on the DL.
And it's one thing to be, a fan and watching this and to have your opinion on this, but then to step in there and to actually do this. And I watched it my whole life, but there was nothing else like it. And I knew I loved it right away, but it was one of those things. I wanted to get my degree first before I ever, and at the time in Vegas, there wasn't, not like there is now, there wasn't any wrestling promotions other than, I think, Buffalo Jim's Wrestling School at the time, which I'd heard was a real scam.
Yeah. I got some stories about Buffalo Jim we won't get into.
So that wasn't even an option in my head, but I was glad to be released and to be rehired wrestling again on my own at OVW. To me, it was like I wanted that off of me, just to be honest.
Tell me about the transition period, because you come from being pretty much a star athlete in high school. You used to contact, dude, you're 240 plus. Was the physicality of what actually happens in the ring an eye-opener for you, and how were you with bumping? Because I'll tell you what, man, all of a sudden you start bumping someone around, and it's kind of a come-to-Jesus moment. You either like it or you don't, or it takes you some getting used to, because it's not what you think it is. Yeah. And it's controlled science.
Yep. I remember my head throbbing, having headaches the first couple days there, but it wasn't. I remember there was another guy that was a former Marine on that show with us, and he quit after one day, and he was sitting there was doing a nice bath, and wasn't that bad. And but everyone takes it differently, and I loved it from the beginning. I loved the physicality and the contact, and to me, it's like we get to go out there and release that adrenaline, and not everybody has that luxury to get to do that.
How long did it take you to acclimate to in-ring activities? Because the first time I got in the ring, we're just doing drills and stuff, but all of a sudden you throw in a live crowd, and all of a sudden you start telling a story. Or you blow up.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've had injuries, I've had injuries. When you come back, if it was like when I came back from my neck or my tricep, it took me 2 solid months of being on the road working with a hellacious hand in Savio Vega to get my lungs and my timing back. 2 months. Yeah. So how long did it take you to just get in ring shape?
When I first started, I would blow up all the time. I had no idea. I would just go, but I never knew what blowing up was until I
found out real quick.
Yeah, until Bill DeMott introduced me to blowing up really quick, and it was I'd actually, and I was talking about this the other day. for me, that was actually one of the biggest things for me to overcome. I developed a fear of it early on in my career, and that was a big part of the negativity with me. And I didn't understand it because I always thought I trained hard and whatnot, but it was a mental thing at that point.
But I'll tell you what, you talk about a helpless feeling, or a feeling that it ain't worth a damn, is when you're in front of a crowd. I don't care if it's 50 or it's 20,000, but when you're sucking wind and you're supposed to be either selling or beating a dude up, getting heat or shining or working a body part, and all of a sudden you're laying in a rear chin lock because you're gassed, and then you got to flip-flop and fly for that guy to make his comeback, or you got to grind down and get some heat on him, and you got to go through the paces, but you can't because you're out of shape and you're stuck in a rear chin lock. Mister, that is a feeling.
That is one of the reasons why I am obsessed with conditioning now, and the burpees, which I feel are the ultimate conditioning exercise, because early on in my career, that voice that would want to tell you to stop, I hate that voice. And I want to tell that voice to, and part of my language is shut the f*** up.
Right.
Because when I'm out there, I want to be in full control, and I hate that feeling. Is the worst feeling in the world, and it controlled me for far too long early in my career. And it's, to me, getting my conditioning to where it has been now has been the biggest reason for my success. Is out there because I'm not thinking anymore, not worried about holding anything in. It's, you can go out there and just let go because I have better control of it now.
How long did it take you to start putting the pieces together with respect to psychology? Because mechanically, I would imagine you caught on pretty well.
Yeah, mechanically early on, I thought it was
and also with respect to your size. I mean, you're not going to be doing like a cruiserweight style.
Yeah.
You're going to basics. I mean, when you look at what I did, man, really, I didn't do much.
Yeah.
What I did good, but I didn't have a gigantic moveset. I would look like a guy like you're wrestling tonight, Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
He has a moveset that's out of this world.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to put the psychological pieces together to make that crowd be invested, one, in you as a performer, as a character, as a person that they care about, whether they love you or hate you, depending on what you're trying to do, and then also be able to diagnose what's going on and take him through a match and tell a story?
We're constantly learning here, and the process never ends. And I'm still, every day, every week, I feel like I'm improving and learning something different and new. But for me, it was when I was injured and I broke the ankle and leg out the year and a half. In my mind, that's when I really got into the meditation there. But I started, during that period, I ordered every WWE DVD. And the reason why I ordered WWE DVDs is because we work for the WWE, and there's the WWE style. And I could have watched other tapes at the time and whatnot, but I really, really wanted to. I wasn't wrestling. I couldn't do anything. I had a lot of free time on my hands. So I started watching. I would watch a tape a day, and from beginning to end, sometimes more, sometimes 10, 15 matches a day. And I started pausing and watching, studying it like game film for the first time, rather than just watching and going all the way. This time, why did they do this? What can I do right there? I could do 3 other things out of that position right there. And it was when I started doing that is when it all started clicking for me, because I came back, Steve, after that, a year and a half, hadn't been in the ring, hadn't wrestled a match. I got cleared to come back after this ankle deal, and they put me back on the road, and I did a match. I remember we went 8 minutes, me and Alex Riley, and I hadn't wrestled, and he was like, we were going, and I blew up, but it was at that point mentally, though, I had the confidence that I didn't have quite before,
right.
And that for me is when I felt, you know what, I could do this, and that's when I had the confidence, and I went into Vince, I remember before Ryback, and I was just showing up every week to TVs, not doing anything with me, and I went in there 1 week, I had to say my piece.
Talk to me about your relationship with Vince McMahon, because it's a relationship everyone must make once they get here, and it's an intimidating thing to do when, one, now it's the only game in town.
Yeah.
But, he's Vince McMahon, and he's the guy he's the best promoter in the history of the business.
Yeah.
Now he's your boss. Now, I'll never forget, all of a sudden I started heating up. Well, and we were going live every other week, and I had that little meeting with him in the parking lot while he was editing my lines. And then, he told me, well, quite frankly, Steve, you're popping the people in the truck. I was trying to be a heel. And if you can entertain the guys in the truck, then you can entertain anybody. So anyway, to get back to you, I told him, you got to take the reins off of me because I can't compete with the guys that are 7 feet, 300. I'm only 6'1", 250. Yeah. So he let me have my personality. But that was one of the first times that I just, had the guts, the wherewithal, the awareness to know that I needed to make those inroads with Vince. And, of course, as you know, the higher up the card you get, also that relationship is easier. But tell me about this first endeavor or this first hardcore meeting you have with Vince and what your relationship is with the man now.
It was
because it seems like it. Dude, you guys are straight up eye to eye. Here's what it is.
And it's I had to go talk to him last week about some stuff. And every week is a fight here, as you know, and it is truly a challenge, but it is an exciting challenge. Sometimes I wish it was a little easier at times, but again, it's an every week thing. And it was at that point when I talked, and I've always told Vince this, when I talk to him, I don't want to go to him just all the time for everything, and it has to have meaning behind it, and it always has. Because otherwise you start, some people I feel abuse that power.
Right.
And he's a busy man. He has gone pulled a million different directions. So it's when I truly feel I need to talk to him about selling. And that was one of those moments, the first times when I felt like we weren't utilizing me to the best of our abilities. And I remember from that conversation just telling, I need you to give me an opportunity, put me out there. I don't need vignettes. Just put me out there. I will get myself over, were my exact words. And I remember, so I said something about, I said your company to him at one point, and at the end of the conversation, he goes, you will be ready when you realize it is our company. And I said our company. And I walked out of there, I was like, damn it, thinking, how long do I have to wait now before I go talk to him and somehow sneak in our company? And luckily, though, everything was on track, and I believe I debuted a week or two after that. They gave me the local talents, and they let me just go out there and get myself over, which I feel, every week were different guys, and they gave me small guys, so I had to be as entertaining as possible. And I realized at that point the best way to get over wrestling these small guys is to make it like a train wreck where people just want to see these guys get killed, and we succeeded on that.
You're listening to another classic episode of The Steve Austin Show, only on PodcastOne.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more. And Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's simple. Go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
How has the landscape or the feel, the vibe of the company changed from your first days here to now? Because to me it's changed light years, and I'm on the outside looking in.
It's one of those things. So now we look around the guys, we all came from developmental, essentially. Whereas when you came in, it was much different, coming in from the territories and whatnot. And so we all of us here, we've all been here, and I've been here 10 years, and which is crazy for me to sit here and to think about that. But whereas people look at us now as the more experienced guys, and it goes by like that, where I still feel like it's my first day on the job. But really nothing, I guess it can change looking from the outside in, because if I showed back up later and then there's all different guys, it's all new guys. But for us, we've been all around each other, for the last 10, 12 years, a lot of us. So, which is cool to come up and to see a lot of guys stick around. But like I said, it's a weekly fight here, though. And you have to, I heard Brock say last week, you got to be kind of selfish. And truer words have never been spoken.
How competitive is this locker room? Because I'm back in my days, which I can speak of, dude. I was on top, but it's like, dude, this shark. I told Rock one time, I pulled him aside. He was really starting to get hot, and I always hit it off with the Rock, and we just had great in-ring chemistry, a lot of respect for each other. We don't call each other all the time. We don't text each other all the time. I was about to leave, and I said, hey man, I said just be aware. I said, dude, these are shark-infested waters.
Yeah.
And they are. And so basically, as good as you can get along with anybody, when somebody, you don't want anybody to go down with an injury, you hate to see that. But to your point, like what you said 30 minutes ago, man, if somebody does go down, you've got to be able to take that spot.
Absolutely.
But, dude, every day, it's like I don't imagine with your love of the business as a kid at 7 or 8 wanting to be a pro wrestler that your goal was to be the opening match.
Yeah. So it's one of those things here, like you have to literally, we have a very competitive roster, and we have a lot of talented guys right now. And I take this very, very personal, going back from when came back from this ankle injury and overcoming all those odds there and coming back and being given local enhancement talent and getting myself over to the degree that I did and then getting thrown in the main event. And I thought holding my own very well in that position for 8 months of being the secondary player, essentially, for 8 months before I essentially turned. And to me, I've always had a chip on my shoulder from that because we were selling some good numbers, and when I came in on all that, and I had it all taken away. And this is a very political business, and I'm very competitive. I would rather, if I'm hot and Daniel Bryan comes in and he gets hotter than me, I'm okay with that. Personally, it pisses me off, but in my head, I'm thinking, how can I outdo him now on the creative end to try to get more over than him or to try to get my numbers back up? Whereas other guys in this business don't think that way, and it is very political, and you have a lot of producers and you have a lot of people here that have their own personal objectives, which I feel is too many, rather than that have access to the boss's ear. So I've learned weekly, you have to learn when to speak up for yourself. And for me, I could be number one. I could sell tickets. I have a look to me, and I know what I'm doing out there where I could draw people in and people believe in me. So I get pissed off when sometimes we go another direction. I don't like that because I know what I'm capable of and when we were doing that, what I was doing. But it's just one of those things. There's a lot of people around here. You
ever step back and take inventory of what's going on? Like maybe this would be something that you would work into your regimen of your meditate.
Yeah.
When you do your meditation, your stretching, your stuff like that. But when I look back, if I go back to my WCW days, when I was studying Steve Austin, I saw a guy who at times, had an average physique, had bad hair, pretty good-looking kid when I first broke into business. But, man, if I line up all the guys in the dressing room and said, hey, man, pick out 5 guys that you think are going to be stars, I'm not going to be one of the guys you picked out.
Yeah.
Now, you put them in the ring, okay, then you start seeing some potential. Can you remove yourself from the equation, or can you put everybody on the lineup there and now look at the roster and say, man, here's why I should be here, or then taking a look, over the ring and watching down and looking at what everybody's doing in the ring and saying, okay, this guy's doing this, but I can do this, and try to improve what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Because it took me losing my hair to shave the head to come up with the Stone Cold thing. It took a promo by Jake the Snake Roberts for that little piece to fall in, and PSAs to tell me about that promo, to have that match, to come up with a catchphrase, which kind of catapulted everything because maybe I was destined to be a mid-card player. I had not everything lined up. But now when I look back, man, I was kind of like a ragamuffin.
Yeah.
And I was, after 7.5 years, I was an overnight sensation.
Yep. Absolutely. You have to be able to step back and look at it. And I'm always trying to improve. And I'm like,
but at this stage of the game, what can you improve?
So this is a funny story. I just learned how to do backflips for the first time yesterday. That was something I never knew how to do. Never learned as a kid. Never even tried. I could do front flips all day long though, and all that. But so I was looking around. I was, you know what? I've started doing a little more, coming off the top rope and doing a few things a while back, just a little bit.
Dude, you're 290 pounds.
So I don't like being limited. I feel like, especially today's the product, the people, and it's not doing it every night because that will
pick your spots.
Yeah, but here and there, just to let them know that you can, and it can go a long ways if you're done in the right spot. So like I had a fear of going backwards yesterday I bought a big trampoline, put it up in my backyard, and then I realized I need to go get instructions first on this. Went to a parkour gymnastics school 15 minutes down from my house, and within 1 hour I learned how to do backflips yesterday to hopefully eventually incorporate that into the ring, whether it's a moonsault or something of that nature. But I'm always trying to improve, and I go home, I'm watching tape still watch matches every week. Even if I'm home a day and a half, I try to watch a couple matches at least. I watch a lot of the indie stuff, looking for different moves, different way to go into moves, pacing. But I also got to incorporate
Are you a guy that gets on the road and before or after your match, you're watching every single match in the ring to see what the crowd's buying, what the boys are doing?
Yeah, a lot of this. So I don't watch everything all the time. I used to. Sometimes you get busy and pulled in different directions.
Absolutely.
Here. But when when you can, as much as you can, so you don't want to duplicate things. And sometimes guys taking 4 shoulder posts in the night, and you don't want to do that.
And it's sometimes it's one of those nights, and then some nights
it does happen,
like, man, I'm thinking about it working the arm, and all of a sudden I'm match number 6, and for some reason all 5 matches work the arm. So I'm thinking, okay, I got one work a neck, work a headlock.
Yeah.
Because you can't do that. And
it's one of those. So I have to also. We're on a kick with keeping me as intense as possible, and when I went through that whole heel phase and the Ryback, so that was the most fun I had because I got to go out there and just do whatever I wanted, and the spotlight was
Talk to me about that. Do you prefer working a heel or babyface?
I love being babyface. I feel it's one of those things. I like putting smiles on kids' faces, and I feel like with my style and being aggressive, adults like watching me still too, where I'm not, where it's like just one section of the crowd is liking me. But I will say being a heel is truly
it's liberating.
Something else, yeah.
Because you can do anything in the world that you want, and it frees you up.
Absolutely.
If you have any inhibitions or whatever the word is, I mean, that's when and the thing I always loved about being a heel, too, just for being an aggressive person in the ring, was if you do something wrong, if you have egg on your face, it's okay because you're a heel.
Yeah.
As a baby face, you don't really have that much luxury because if you keep tripping over your own feet or doing those kind of things, you ain't gonna be over.
Yep. That's funny you said it because I'm that beginning Ryback in 2012, and eventually when I turned there on Cena, I felt like that was how my mentality is, like, don't screw up, because we had created this monster that had to be this certain way, and I wasn't speaking a lot, and then when I finally switched, it was I felt like I could do no wrong. And I felt like that's when I could start letting my real personality come in. And it was a process, and it took a good year and a half to really that. And the whole tagging with Curtis Axel, most fun I've ever had. Me and him would literally every night, we try to find a way to joke with each other. And while we're doing this is a funny story. This is towards the end. I was working, I had the 2 strained groins and 2 tears in my abs there. And I went with that for 7 months, 4 months with the both of them torn. And because I was having so much fun, I didn't want this to end. And I knew when I went and got fixed, I knew that was probably going to be the end of this thing. And we're tagging in a match on SmackDown, and you could YouTube this, people out there. Mark Henry and Big Show, and who are 2 very large human beings.
Strong dudes.
Strong and just on a whole other level. And I'd somehow talked Axel on the lockup with Mark to go behind him and crawl through his legs without Mark knowing. And you go back and watch it. It's on there, and Mark tries to kill him. Axel's freaking, gets out of the ring and gets in. Mark starts glomming him, and he's pissed. And then Axel finally tags me in as the rib. So then I had to get in there. But we were having fun like that, just doing whatever. And Mark wasn't happy about it. We apologized after, but we would always just try to go out there and have fun.
Now with the tag thing seemingly behind you being in the singles role, is that what you prefer?
Yeah, because it's the success is solely on me, or failure solely on me. And I truly believe, like I said, my goal is to be number 1 here. That was what it was when I came in, and it's what it will always be. And being in a tag team is great, and it was fun, and I love that. And I'm if an opportunity, you got to go through different stages here, and sometimes, you have to do other things. And if an opportunity comes up down the line, maybe after I reach a certain level of success, I'd be more than welcome tag team again. But I liked being a singles competitor.
How much do you like being on the road?
So I loved it. At the beginning, I loved it. After you start doing it for a while, you need a break here and there, which I haven't. 4 years almost. I think I've missed about 12 or 13 weeks total, with the 10 weeks on one deal and 3 weeks with the staph infection, or a month with that. And that's it. And other than that, I've been full-time. So, I mean, it's, I make the most of my time. I listen to the audiobooks. I drive alone. I don't ride with anybody. I'm a guy that early on I rode with Daniel Bryan and Cody and Cesaro for a little bit. And I realized I like having a little extra time to work out. I like going to my old food places. I like, if I feel great and wake up at 7 a.m., I want to go work out or go eat. I don't want to have to wait till a 10:30 set time that we all set to go get in the car together. And so I decided to eat that expense early on and invest it in myself, and it has paid off.
Well, and the thing about it is, at the end of the day, it's going to be a write-off. It's still money, but you can write the bulk of it off. Yeah. But, man, if you're able to get the peace of mind and the freedom to do that, that was always my big deal. I mean, back in the day, you crowd as many guys as you could into a van, a car, whatever, because nobody was making no money. Yeah. But I understand when you are able to make some money, that's when you go get your own rental car. And then that was for me because, dude, I'm a loner. I love traveling by myself. Now, I truly value the days when I was driving down the road with gorgeous Gary Young and Skandar Akbar and Bronco Lubitz, and those guys were dropping knowledge on me as I was sitting in the back seat or riding shotgun and getting the education part of it. But then, left to my own devices, I'd much rather travel by myself. A lot of guys these days have employed the tour bus technology and gone that route. Had I thought about that back in the day, I think I could have, I don't know, maybe got another year or two out of it. Have you ever considered doing a tour bus option?
We actually have contract is coming up next year, and actually we've talked about that with them. I don't know. So for me, that's what I was talking to them about, the merchandise stuff. I need some stuff outside of what the contract is going to be. If I'm going to do that, I need some other stuff, which there's no reason why there shouldn't be. But that is, to me, that is the key to longevity. If that tool is available to us now, I would be stupid not to use that. But at the same time, because getting in cars and driving at 4 or 5 hours sometimes after all this, and sitting and standing where you can relax on a bus and have home-cooked food essentially, and if I can get away with that, I'm going to get that. But at the same time, I have to be able to afford that and not have that cut into what I'm making in the long run. How
are you with respect to, I'm not talking about numbers, I'm talking about how are you with respect, you're a single guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, man, when I used to carry my bills in a hefty trash bag.
Yeah.
And I always paid my bills, but, man, I was a guy that was very disorganized.
Yeah.
You doing your solo thing, man, how in tune are you with keeping your taxes straight, keeping your budget, not going overboard, living below your means?
Yeah.
I always tell everybody, I don't care how much you make, where you come from, always live below your means.
Yep.
Don't start spending on a gross. Think about the net. Pay Uncle Sam.
Yep.
How are you with that?
So very early on when I got up here, I realized I take 40% for taxes every check. I have a separate tax account which has extra money at the end of the year. Whatever that money is extra, that's my bonus for the year to myself, to buy myself something that I might not normally get if I didn't have. But early on, so I didn't do anything with my money for the first probably 2 years here because I wanted to educate myself. I like to know about things. And I don't like to just trust a financial advisor at Chase Bank, and I want to know what the hell my money's doing because I trust myself. And I can live with myself losing it over somebody else, to be quite frank. Right. So I did nothing but read financial books and doing the audio books, and I invest, I have golds, I have literally a little bit of everything. And my house will be paid off by the end of the year that I had built it'll be 2 years ago, January. And I put a lot into that, and the value on that's already gone up. And because to me, I guess getting into this, having a paid-off house is a little bit of financial freedom that no matter what, if I were to go out there and something happened to me, God forbid, because I've already had it happen, as you know, that I have a place to live and I'm taken care of. So, but that to me, I learned that very early on. You have to, the amount of money that we have the ability to make, you have to know what you're doing because that money's not always going to necessarily be there.
And it's not always going to stay the same.
No, and it fluctuates.
Down, business is down, things are going down.
Yeah.
And so if you adjust your lifestyle to a high income and all of a sudden things get a little bit down, I mean, you're not in a good position. So I was always very frugal with my money. And it's interesting to hear that you almost have your house paid off for, because back in the day, that was territory mentality.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that you did. You paid cash for your house, and this is back when the houses were a lot cheaper, and of course the money wasn't as big back then, but just because the business was so iffy, if you got fired, at least no one could take your crib from you. So it's refreshing to hear that, at least that's psychology.
That's my mentality on it, though.
That is still there.
Yeah.
As a guy who, and we'll wrap this thing up because here's the thing, man. You're about to fight Kevin Owens in a match here at Hell in a Cell, and you've been busy doing all your things all day, but let's wrap this thing up. Before you go out to the ring, with as much as you prep before you go into the gym, your warm-up, your stretching, your meditation, I was a guy that, man, if I just go my arms like this a couple times, I'm just making my arms go back and forth like you would do if you're standing there.
Yeah.
Make a couple of shoulder circles. I dump water on myself to get the ashes off so I wouldn't be crusty. That was my prep. Or Jake the Snake Roberts was famous for standing over there taking a drag off his cigarette. They'd hit his music. He'd put his cigarette out, grab that snake, and walk to the ring.
Yeah.
What is your prep to get out there in this squared circle?
So I'll go out by the ring and I'll do a good, usually if I go to the gym, I stretch really good there at the gym where I don't have to do a big warm-up before the match as far as stretching. But I'll go out there and get a good 30-minute stretch today just to really, because I drove 4 hours to get loose. But it's funny you brought up the water. The I saw some tape of you, I don't know how long ago, this was years ago, of you pouring the water before you went out there, and that's not a bad idea. And so for me, every once in a while I'll do the smelling salt, but I'll grab 2 or 3 bottles of, it has to be cold, ice cold water, and I'll pour that all over my head and let it go down my body because it literally wakes up the nerves. And I go out there, that's where I came up with the wake up when I was out there with that whole thing, and I'm waking myself up before because I could be dead tired. When that cold water hits me, it's like the red light goes on, and so I got that from you, so thank you. But that is my process. Along with I got the bands, and I don't have a set warm up. I go by if my right shoulder's a little tight today, I'll do a little more stuff for my right shoulder. And
but tell me, are you one of those guys that thinks, okay, now like man, it's stone cold, dude? As soon as that glass breaks, I'm stone cold. It's not like I got to psych up before I go out there. Do you have to psych up and animate to be or turn into Ryback?
No, the cold water is the extent of it right there.
Okay.
And then
boom, you're fired up. Boom, you're ready to go.
Yeah, I remember Hell in a Cell, my first one with Punk in 2012. I was back there, and I would get pacing back and forth and get myself all amped up. And Hunter pulled me aside, and he goes, "You're good." He goes, "Relax." He goes, "You're in the main event. You deserve this." He goes, "You keep up that intensity out there, what you're doing right now, you're going to blow yourself up." And he goes, "Just relax. You're going to be fine. Trust me." And it was like, yeah, I am going to be fine. I know what I'm doing. And I ever since that point, I don't get all amped up back there.
But that's interesting because a while back you were just talking about maintaining the intensity in the ring. And so sometimes like when you maintain an intensity, it's a body tightness or a flex position of intensity but that can drain the life out of you.
Suck
and
the life right out of you.
So it's man, I used to go back as much as you watch the WWE stuff. I would recommend going back into the mid-'80s if you can find some old Jerry Lawler stuff. Because I was just talking about him a couple of weeks ago on a podcast. Man, he'd be right at the peak of a feud, and now his character is totally different than your character. But I'm talking about at the pinnacle of a build, and just go out there and still lock up with a guy. Now y'all have different styles, but his intensity was a relaxed type intensity, and so there's green intensity. And I think that's probably where you're at, that comfortable intensity where you're not redlining constantly to take yourself out of the game and then still have to put in 12 solid minutes. Yeah,
it's a whole different level, and to do the power stuff from beginning, not just do it I don't just do it in the beginning. I put it in the comeback at the end. It has to be, and that to me, that's where the burpees and all that come in, and the 200, I tell you, because for me to be, and you go back and I watch Ultimate Warrior running around out there, and granted he didn't have the longest matches and whatnot, but there's times where he did.
Hey, he was putting asses in seats. When you say Warrior, you got to speak with respect.
A whole different level of but to me, in doing what I know, what we're trying to create here, I have to have a certain level of conditioning just to go out there and pull that off, which I take a lot of pride in. And we were talking about before, I'm 280, 85 pounds. I'm not 220 pounds. Muscle consumes oxygen. So I have to be in even better shape to pull that off. And not everybody realizes that, but that's not their job to realize it. It's my job, and I know what I got to do. And from beginning, I go walk through that curtain till when I get back through that curtain, I got to have that intensity.
How long does it take you to come down after a match? Because, when you hit a good one, maybe sometimes you hit one out of the park, sometimes you hit a triple, sometimes you hit a double. That's just the way the business goes. When you hit a good one, you're on the road. You're going down the road. You're in a car by yourself. How long does it take you to come down? Or do you put an audio book on? I mean, what's your come down process?
So now with the social media now being so relevant, and I've tried to make a habit of not using that as much, but sometimes when you have a good one and it's hard not to look and see what people are saying because usually the feedback, when it's good and when it's bad now based on the number of responses you get on a certain thing. But I usually go to the audiobook fairly quickly on, but I will sometimes, like on the way here, I can't just do audiobooks the whole way. I got to sometimes I got to listen to some music for a while and think about the match or think about things, and I'll go back, and I'm big on watching myself, even though I hate it sometimes. I get home, I'll watch a match 3 or 4 or 5 times, and I remember when I was with my girlfriend before last year, she would just watch me, like I'd make faces as I'm watching it, and just
you'd move your shoulders,
and I don't even realize I'm doing it. I'm like in a whole other. She's like, it's like
doing it.
And it's but that's how you get better and improve things. But it takes a while sometimes to come down, and that's another thing people don't understand doing this. As much time is what we're asked to do as WWE superstars, and then the appearances and then the traveling and the wrestling and the prep that goes into it, you got to come down from all that and go to bed and get 3, 4, 5 hours. And the nights I get 8 hours now, I'm very thankful for, because they're few and far between sometimes. And just sometimes I used to never have a problem going to bed, and the longer I've done this, I've realized I got to take a melatonin here and there, take a cap of NyQuil here and there. Not every night, but there's some nights your body just doesn't want to shut down because.
Dude, here's the thing about it is, and I still, to this day, I don't sleep worth a damn anyway. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But it's like, man, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm pushing myself very hard in the gym. I'm trying to set these PRs. I'm on a pretty good schedule right now. So I'm thinking everything I've done to my body today says I'm tired. My body is telling me I'm tired. I might be nodding off, and it might only be like 8 p.m., but I'm gonna wait till about 9:30. So I get in bed. When I get in bed, it's like, okay, my body starts waking up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yep.
You've been telling me you're tired, and now that I'm in bed, you don't want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'll toss turn all night, wake up feeling like a piece of shit. Like, what's up?
People don't understand it. It's other thing when you have to get up. You have to catch a flight. Your body's stressed already because you have to be up at a certain point, and if you're only going to get 4 hours, you want to get those 4 hours. Yeah. So before you know it, an hour goes by and you haven't even shut an eye.
You're looking at the clock and think, oh man,
I'm not going to get 3 hours, and then I'm going to get 2.5 hours. And I've had that happen. So it's just.
Last question I'm going to ask you, then I'm going to let you go do your thing, because I know you got to go through your paces and think about tonight's performance. Probably sold out here at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. The physique of Ryback requires how many calories intake daily to maintain everything that you do?
I quit counting calories quite a while back.
Yep.
I go by the mirror now, and I've learned to not, because I used to be obsessed with having my weight over 290, and I've learned I might be 275, 280 right now, my weight, but I still look like I'm the same size. I do a lot of the meal prep services, like this company called Fuel Up when I'm home. They send me the meals. That way I don't got to cook 8 times a day. But I'll do the brown rice and the steak and the chicken. So every meal to me, especially when we get to this level, every meal I put in my body is to benefit myself, to try to better myself so that when I wake up the next day, I look a little bit better than I did yesterday. That's at least what in my mind, what I'm going for. Because sometimes you feel good doing this. Sometimes we're beat up. But I've learned I don't have cheat days anymore. Every once in a blue moon, I might go get a milkshake, and I'm talking maybe twice a year.
Right.
And I'll know when I hit that point I need something. It's
dude, twice a year, yeah, dude. Yeah, it's 2 warranted cheat days.
Yeah. So it's and for me, and I'm consuming enough calories where I'm never hungry to begin with, and I got to do all the conditioning stuff. I got to.
So what are we guessing if we're going to ballpark 5,000?
5,000 is a good number. I would say it's close to that.
Okay, let's don't make this a plug for Fuel Up, but tell me about this, because I've been looking at some of these services. Because sometimes, man, on the go when I'm down there filming one of my shows, I ain't got no time to do nothing.
Yep.
Are you? Is it?
It is top notch, and I've reached out to them. I know they were doing something with Zack Ryder, and they said they were interested in sponsoring me for that or something. But I use them just because I like them.
No, but here's the thing. If it's geared towards performance and what you do, it is a write-off.
Yeah,
it's real money you're spending, but you can write that off.
And I've always said I love it. So for me, they overnight it, and you can tell them I get home on Wednesday. Please have it in my house for Wednesday. They've done it every time where I get in, and they overnight it Tuesday where it gets in Wednesday on ice. You can put them in the refrigerator for 7 days or freeze them for up to a month, and pop them in the microwave. Low sodium, all that. You can put your own flavoring and seasoning on them. Some of them have some sauce on it, but it literally tells you I can get like broccoli and steak, and I'm getting 75 grams of protein and no carbs on this meal, or the turkey chili, which I'm getting 50 grams of carbs and 60 grams of protein. It's all on there, so I know what I'm getting.
That's awesome.
Every single meal, and they taste awesome. So.
Okay, I said that was the last question. Here's the last question. You got Kevin Owens literally 4 hours from now.
Yep.
How you feeling about that? Because when I would go into a pay-per-view, I'd kind of feel not so much nervous, a little jittery, but then as soon as the glass broke, I was good to go.
Yeah.
But that was me. I anticipated getting in the ring, but with a little nervous energy. What goes through your mind as we just sit here and talk, and you go back to your own devices?
I try to treat every show the same that we do here, just from that standpoint of live event, TV, pay-per-view, of approaching it the same exact way, putting in the same effort on everyone. But I've learned that the crowds are different. For a WWE live event crowd is totally different than a Monday Night Raw crowd. Yeah. And a Monday Night Raw crowd is a little different than a pay-per-view crowd. So It's just
that's Ryback's phone going off.
They're probably calling
when someone's phone goes off in the podcast, they owe me a beer. So again, are nerves going on? I mean, with respect,
nerves in a good way though.
Because we could elaborate.
Yeah.
All those crowds are different. To your point, but are you nervous about it tonight's
it's a positive nervousness. It's I've learned to harness that energy in a positive way, and where I'm excited. I know what I have and what's on my plate for tonight, and I know where I'm at on the card. So it's a challenge we're on a little bit later tonight, and it's one of those things. Okay, how can we go out there and get them on their feet for where we're at on the card tonight? And it's a challenge, and I like it. I love every day on the job here.
And that's always a task at hand. Back in the days when I would go to Japan and you'd watch some of the cruiserweight guys, or there'd be Malenko, Guerrero, those guys. I mean, crazy. I mean, or Mysterio, and you're thinking, oh, dude, how do I follow that? You don't. You chronologically follow it, but you do your own shit.
Yeah.
Don't just stick to your game plan, stick to what brought you to the dance, and you're going to be fine. And that works in Japan, it works here.
Yeah.
So just go out there and have the best match you can. And with that, hey man, I appreciate talking to you.
Sir.
It was good talking to you, and we'll do it again. I'll go back and forth to Vegas over at the SHOT Show every now and then. I'd like to come by.
Absolutely, I would love it.
The home gym compound.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You're more than welcome.
Dude, good luck tonight.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you for joining us for another classic episode of The Steve Austin Show. Please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and tell your friends. For more Steve Austin Show, go to PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
Stream the biggest movies and TV shows for free on Pluto TV. Watch movies like Titanic and G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, plus TV shows like CSI and Star Trek: The Next Generation. Starting this month, check out the 24/7 Stargate channel exclusively on Pluto TV. Plus hundreds of channels and thousands of movies and TV shows absolutely free. Download the free Pluto TV app on your favorite streaming device and start watching today.
Hey guys, Jay Cutler. Started a new podcast called Uncut with Jay Cutler. Most of you know me from the NFL, some of you have seen me on Instagram, and some of you know me from the reality TV world. Each week I'm taking you along with me as we discuss football, trending topics, and whatever's going on in my life each week. I'm bringing along people that are special in my life. Former teammates, friends, and some new people that I like and respect. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Podcasting? I think I'm doing this right. Can't wait to get started with you. Go subscribe now. Uncut with Jay Cutler, Apple Podcasts, PodcastOne, and Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.